Good evening, everyone. It's Saturday, January 21st, and it was a beautiful day, a little chilly. Hope you had time to go out. Hope you had time to show homes or list homes. Um, I'm going to make this one a little brief because, as you know, there's a lot of good football games on tonight, and the New York Giants are playing the Philadelphia Eagles, and we got chicken wings and stuff. So I want to do my video anyway. I missed last week, and I apologize. I actually didn't even send out a newsletter. I just got really busy and putting away Christmas decorations. I just left my lights here. Everything else is down. I just like my lights kind of makes it kind of warm and fuzzy. But it just got really busy, and I didn't do a podcast, or actually I didn't even do a newsletter, which I should have done anyway, because people, every device we use, every software program we use, we get feedback. And since I missed a week, less people opened up the newsletter I sent last night and then did a resend this morning. And it just shows you how in business, whether it's real estate, whether you're selling hot tubs or cars, you have to be consistent. You miss 1 week, and it's like you're not the main person in town anymore. You're not the main attraction. So just a little side note to the realtors who may be listening to me or may not be listening to me. But consistency is so important. So I should at least have done the newsletter. And no matter what, I will always do my weekly newsletter. As best as I can, unless I'm really, really sick. If I'm, then I might not. But I will do my best to be. And I actually, for the last quite a few years, I'm very consistent with that. But I just got kind of bogged down. I'm sorry. I really, okay, that's enough apologizing. So I'm Chris Gargiulo. This is my podcast, Real Estate with Mr. G. I am an associate broker and licensed referral specialist with Realty Connect, okay? And that's my new business and how I could help you wherever you are in the United States of America. Watch this. I know I said this before. I first heard that music from a podcaster that I listen to daily. He's a comedian, and he used that for one of his characters. And I said, "Where did you get it from?" I'm actually Facebook friends with him. And then he told me, and I was able to buy the rights to it as well. And I just fell in love with the music. I thought it was very Americana, or Western. But I just wanted to show what I have done, where I come from, and what I'm trying to do now. And again, I actually think what I'm working on is actually a good idea because you're basically getting two real estate specialists for the price of one because uh, you could contact me with your questions about purchasing wherever you are in the United States of America. I could give you my advice, but then I will find you a specialist, or you could go to my website and you should be offered up to three agents in that area. If you're out, for instance, in California, and you could choose which one works best for you. And I think it's a good idea because, again, um, you're getting two for one, and then you get not only are you getting two for one, but then you could choose from a batch of people who actually will show you homes, or if you're listing your home, to list your home as well. So I think it's a good deal. All right, and I'm going to be building more on my blog and website, and I will actually be selling books, ebooks dealing with real estate or with marketing of real estate, and that's what I'm planning now. Okay, and that's my little background, my little spiel. Now, a lot of questions are going on with the housing market, and if we have hit rock bottom, we know that prices have fallen, and I've read an article where actually buyers are suing their agents because now, a year ago, they paid so much for their property, and now it's not worth it. They're underwater. Now, again, we are better off than we were back in 2007, 2008 because the banks were a little bit more careful. So if you looked at a house that was 200,000 and you end up buying it for 240,000, you overbid to win it over. There was about nine other competing offers out there, and you did 40,000 more. The bank um, loaned you what the appraised value was, and they stood tight with that. So they didn't appraise the house at 240,000. If they felt it was worth 200,000, they kept it at 200,000. So even if you bought the house at 240 and a year later it dropped down to 200,000, you're really not under the water. You paid a lot more for it, but your mortgage is at that level, right? So your outstanding debt is really the price. Well, what you're still paying on the house is what your loan is for. Okay, you're not paying out a $240,000 loan, and now your house is worth just 200,000. You bought at 240,000, but your loan was at 200,000, and you kind of break even there. But I imagine there are examples where people who, even though they, they went over the asking price, perhaps even the value of the house at that point, the appraised value came out in kind of high, and maybe their house is worth 195 now. All right, I don't know how many examples are out there. I've read reports on agents or brokers who are being sued. I don't know if it's rampant, but that's one safeguard we have, and now that we didn't have in 2007, where the banks and especially the appraiser kept tight with the true value of the house. But again, if home prices have dropped so dramatically, and you actually took out a mortgage that was higher than now the present value of the house, that hurts. That hurts a lot. And some buyers are suing their brokers for it. Now, it's all happening now. I don't know what the outcome would be. I don't see the agent making up the difference with errors and omissions insurance, because I don't think it's really the agent's fault. I mean, um, if the agent gave you a CMA and say, well, this house is really, it's really worth $100,000. It's not really worth the 240. But if you want to do that, that's on your own. I can't see how they could blame the agent. But we'll see what happens. It's all happening right now. Okay, and we will see some of the outcomes of those lawsuits. And I don't want to get preachy, but it's paying too much for anything is never a good thing. And I mean, I've always said the only one who benefits is the seller, right? And then the agent who made a nice fat commission. But in the long run, it really doesn't help. It's not sustainable. It doesn't help the entire real estate market, all right? Because it's overpriced. That's why we do appraisals, to make sure that you're taking out a mortgage for the true value of that house, all right? So people who made the killing, yeah, they stuck the money in the bank. They went on maybe on luscious vacations, whatever. But in the long run, the big picture, okay, it hurts a lot of people. The same way we have laws, okay, when we're by Chesapeake Bay, brings in a lot of money for the Hampton Roads area, for Maryland, all right, a lot of fishing, scallops, crabs, shrimp, clams, all right, and then there are seasons when these fish, and it's each fish is a different case, when they reproduce and make little fishies, all right? And then there are laws that you can't fish for them then, right? So you can't just go and pilferage the sea and get as much as you can right now, because then in the long run, by next year, you're not going to have such a big catch, all right? And then not only that, in business we learn you want to stick it to your competition, but share the pie. It sounds maybe if you think it's socialism, but in the long run, this doesn't hurt when you just take everything, right? When this greed is not good, it's not a good thing. Oh, I had to put my on ear sign. It wasn't on. Okay, here we go. In whatever industry, the greed doesn't work. I don't care what Stucco said, and Wall Street, greed is not good. In the long run, it just hurts. It hurts a lot of people. All right, that's my my spiel for today. I think I lost my. Hold on for a second. I was supposed to. Okay, share a screen, and I want to share this. So let me get this up here. I guess it went away, and let me put on my. Had home values hit bottom? Okay, and that's what we're going to discuss today. And I'm going to just, I already mentioned a lot of this already. And here they talk about news stories are talking about home prices falling, and that's raising concerns about a repeat of what happened in the crash of 2008. I just went over that, and I told you how it's different. All right. One of the questions that are on many minds, based on these headlines, is how much will home prices decline? But what you may not realize is expert forecasters aren't calling for a free fall in prices. In fact, if you look at the latest data, and we're going to do that, there's a case to be made that the biggest portion of the month-over-month price depreciation nationally may already be behind us. So let's just go down to this chart, okay? And these are different reporting agencies on the real estate market, okay? And they show in July, August, September, and October, you have these amounts going down to about a negative 0.3. That's Chile, negative 1.1 in September, negative 1 to a negative 0.5. Okay? So, but if you look at the months later, before that, there were actually bigger dips in home prices. All right. So, what this article is saying is that we kind of reached that point around August. Okay. Like if we look at FHA or Black Knight or CoreLogic, we begin seeing this decrease in prices getting less, okay, and hopefully perhaps going back up. The chart provides a look at the most recent reports from Case-Shiller, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, Black Knight, and CoreLogic. It shows how, on a national scale, home values have changed month over month since January of 2022. November and December have not come out yet. So it says, let's focus on what the red numbers tell us. The red numbers are the changes in home values over the last 4 months that have been published. And if we isolate the last 4 months, what the data shows is, in each case, home price depreciation peaked in August, right? So in August they peaked, but then we see, while that doesn't guarantee home prices depreciation has hit bottom, it confirms prices aren't in a free fall. And there may be an early signal that the worst is already behind us. As the numbers for November and December are released, data will be able to further validate this national trend. Okay, now what I'm going to also show, and one of my Christmas presents to myself, I bought another screen, a monitor. I got two nice big 32-inch screens, and I could share it. So I could focus, I can move this while keeping this. I'm loving this. Okay, so this chart is saying, they call it an infographic. What's really happening with home prices? Okay, if you're thinking about selling your house, recent headlines about home prices may have you second guessing your decision. Here's the context where those headlines are missing. While moderating, now if you look at the chart, you see here it goes from January of 2019 to November of 2022. And we see in January 22nd, you really have the largest increase in home prices. Then throughout this year, actually 2022, they begin to fall. Okay. But what this chart is showing you, I can't do my yellow graph on this. Oops, let me get that off here. Let me cancel that. But they're saying it's still higher. The home prices are still higher than they were, let's say, in January of 2020. And actually the beginning of January of 2021. Well, then, probably, this, I don't know exactly where January is beginning, but we can see it, but now it's pretty equal. All right, but it's back to where it was at the beginning of January 2021. So even though they have dropped, it's still higher than it was, let's say, 3 years ago. So all of this up here was gravy, okay, or the chocolate sundae with the whipped cream and the cherry. But now they're beginning to normalize, which is what this chart is showing here. While moderating in recent months, the percent of price appreciation year over year is still well above more normal years in the market. More normal years, January of 2019 to mid-2020, 3 to 4% appreciation, and they're saying the latest data is 10%. Okay, so if you're still selling your house, you're still going to make, if you owned it longer than from January of 2020 or 2019, If you bought it before that, then you most likely are still making a profit on it, even though if you sold it about a year ago, here you would have made a lot more, and that's why I was talking about where it was really overpriced, and now it's hurting a lot of people. But all of this goes together too with let me hide this and come back up here. And you see questions about a recession, what I feel and what it's worth. Everybody makes projections, right? I always give the example that economics is not like a chemistry experiment. You take two elements and you mix it together, you always will get that same reaction, right? But with economics, you really don't know, right? The Feds are raising the interest rates to hopefully to push back the economy from growing more and thus inflating prices. But sometimes that doesn't always work. There's so many other elements or different ingredients that enter the picture. Now, there were reports yesterday, the day before, about how many layoffs there has been in the tech industry. But I don't think those layoffs will be throughout all industry. So we may have a little bit of a recession dealing with the tech industry, where a lot of jobs are being lost. But I don't think it's going to be gigantic. Okay? So I predict, some are saying by the end of the first quarter, that's only, we're in the first quarter already, so that's January, February, March. I don't think things are going to go crazy in April, but maybe by summertime, we'll kind of have like a normalized market where more buyers will be back in the market buying. May happen soon. It might happen in April and May. And that all depends, again, if everything stays strong like it has been, okay, where we're creating more jobs. So between the second and third quarter, I think the real estate market is going to come back. And the only thing is that the mortgage rates are not going to go back down to 3% or below 3%. That's over with. That's done with. In fact, I was surprised that they stood so low for such a long time. All right. So people may have to save up more to purchase if they're having difficulty with the mortgage rate. They could either buy down. I'm hearing where sellers are offering a percentage to buy down the rate for the buyers. So there's a lot of creative things going on. But the mortgage rates definitely won't go back down to 3%. They might go, between 5 and maybe in the high 4s. But it's no longer to be 3 or below 3%. That's pretty firm on that. And I think a lot of smart people like myself, economists and bankers and mortgage loan officers, feel the same. Okay? All right. So let me just show you one little video about perhaps perfecting your house after you buy it. Okay? On your checklist, you might not get everything you want in a new house, but maybe afterwards you could fix it up and make it a very nice thing. All right. And don't forget, because I put in my newsletter, we have the the winter buyer and seller guides on my blog. And where do you see these wonderful things that you could download for free? For free. And you go to, give me un momento, por favor. You go to realestatewithmrg.blog/resource-materials. And you could download those two guides for free. Okay? And we have a repeat guest in the audience. He came back, and my my producer, William Burgess, will introduce him. And again, William, I want to say Happy New Year to you.
Yes, Chris. Happy New Year to you as well. Today we have in the audience a famous performer. His name is Schlepper the Clown. He has been performing in circuses throughout the nation since the Hoover administration. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Schlepper the Clown.
Okay, let me get rid of my guides over here. Sorry about that. All right, that's our show for tonight. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the football games. I'll see you next week. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. And I'll see you next week.